Alright guys, how's it going? It is Mr. Extra. I got a nice tasty deck profile for you for what I ran this week for locals because I am changing it up. It's going to be completely different, so I might as well deck profile what I ran. It was a Virtual World Brave Therion. So 3 engines, all relatively good. We're going to get right into it. So first off, we'll just go over my Therion package real quick. My Therion package was really small, ironically enough. So it was a 2 King Regulus, just because, he's like the best card for Therions anyways, aside from the field spell. He is a negate. You can pull him back from grave. With aggro system, you can equip your other Therion monsters to him to get him out. He's just a fantastic card. So we ran 2 Regulus and then 2 Duke, because since we were running a fat Virtual World, because it's primarily Virtual World with a Therion package and then the Brave package. And Duke works out nicely because half the Virtual World cards are psychic, so you could just use like Lulu. We'll just use Lulu for example, and you can target and put him on the field, or you can go King Regulus off the Duke in the grave, or you can use King Regulus or Duke to use Lulu, or we'll just say Lulu or Nenya brought back off effect, which is a 3, and then go into 11 like Psychic and Punisher. So those are the only Therion monsters I ran for this little package that worked out. It went 3-2-1, was not bad, and this was like fresh out the gate. Blind going second most of the time too, by the way. It was pretty nice. It still worked out pretty well. I could have went 4-2, but one of the matches ended up in a draw for time, and I'm pretty sure I would have had that one. We run 2 the field spell because it's absolutely cracked. If you don't know what it does, you need to look into it. More or less, it's a field spell, 3 effects. If a field spell has that many effects, it's probably fantastic, and it breaks the game. Then 1 aggro system, and then I actually have 1 on the side. I would use this to Foolish my Therion cards to grave. I also run a Therion charge that should be in the side deck right now too. But that never came up, even though it's a 1-up for Therions, but with a small package, and I was running 46 cards. It did not come up very much, ironically enough. So we're going to go into the token package next. So for the Brave engine, I only ran 2 temples because when I run more than 2, then I start seeing a bunch of them in my opening hand. So banish to search right, etc., etc. You know the drill if you've seen this card before. We run the 2 rights with it as well, because 2 rights plenty. I've never got to use it more than 2 times per game. We run the 1 Griffin for Griffin reasons, and plus he is a 7-star as well, where we can go Griffin and we can take a 3-star Lulu, and then we can make a Baron. Or we could take the adventure token that gets made, and then we could take that and make a Roshi, and then also make a Baron. And then we run 1 Faithful Adventure, 1 Rideable Dragon, and then Foolish is in here, but is in the side deck right now. So that is the token package I run, and then the ratios for it. So we're going to go ahead and get into the next little package that we run. Well, not a little package. It's like the girth of the deck. So next is Virtual World. We'll go back row first to Choji, because Choji is easily the best back row card for this deck. If you've never played this deck and you see them use this card, you should probably read what it does, because it does a lot of stuff. It literally fuels the deck. Then we run 3 Coloons, because it is an extra spell target. You can use it to set, for example, Choji, which targets a card in the field and destroys it at the cost of shuffling 2 of your Virtual World monsters that are banished, shuffling back into the deck. So, and then Kaloon basically searches for one of the Virtual World gates and then puts it on the field. So you can also banish Choji to do level manipulation on one of your Virtual World monsters. Then we run 2 Quinlong, which is another pretty good one. If it's face up on the field, you can banish a Virtual World monster from grave or a Virtual World card, target a monster in the field, and negate its effects. It's really good for like getting them to waste their negate. I would use it on people's King Regulus, or at least on Friday I was using it on people's King Regulus to dump the negate, or I'd use it on their Baron at the start of the turn to dump it, because here's what will happen. If it's Baron, if you force the negate, they'll negate and destroy Quinlong. Quinlong can use both effects. If they negate activation, you could just banish it from grave, and then keep playing, basically. So it's like you give them a choice. You bait the negate directly. Zanwu, because it is a 1-up for Virtual World. People don't like this, but I will dump it in grave just to get an additional body on the board. It is actually fantastic, in my opinion. It is a very slept-on card for the Virtual Gate cards, but hey, we are in it to win it, guys, and that's what we were doing yesterday. We were winning them yesterday. We're going to go ahead and go to the monsters now. Lulu at 3, because Lulu is the main key to this deck. If you see her in opening hand, you're probably going to win. It just depends on what you do, and because your opening hand, if you see at least one piece of each of these cores in your hand, you're good to go. For Therion, you would need to see 2 realistically, but you can work with that because the token engine only needs 1 to get going. Virtual World, if you see Lulu in your opening hand, then you have something for Lulu to target. You are good to go. So next we're gonna go into the Ninian. Ninian at 2, by the way. You can run Ninian at 1, but I find it better to run it at 2 because Ninian can special itself back from grave when you put a level 3 on the field. Which, by the way, if you don't have Lulu and you're trying to get a tuner, but you have a token on the field and you got Water Temple in hand, just special some of that Water Temple with its effect to the field, and then Ninian will come back as a tuner, and then guess what? Water's 3, the token's 4. Ninian will come back and would be 3. That's 10. That's a Baron right there, guys. That is a Baron all day long. Alright, so Ninian's another good card, and when it gets banished, it can grab a card from banish pile and shuffle it back to its deck. So say, I will use it to move my Sigma around, use it to move Shinshin back to the extra deck. I'll use it to take the waters that are banished and then put them back into the main deck as well. So next we are on 3 Lily, because Lily can, if you start with well, that's GG. We got 2 Lily, 2 GG, 2 Roshi. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Why 2 Roshi? Well, I've opened with 3 Roshis, and if you don't have nothing to get going, it's kind of a brick. It's a fantastic card because of what it does, but at the same time, if you need it bad enough, you can cycle it back to deck and then search it again. Lily is nice because if you open with Lily and you have like a monster target and you need to stack your grave, you can just target like a Ninian, right? Special it, dump Quinlong, dump Zanwu, and then there you go, you have a search, and then you got something to bring it back from a grave too, as long as you have a hand. GG is your reoccurrence monster for Virtual World. GG is fantastic. Just remember, if you use its effect to bring itself out on end phase, whether it's on the field or not, you will get its effect, which is grab a Virtual World monster and then put it back in your hand on the end phase of the turn that's in your graveyard. Alright, so we are going to move on to the generics. Yes, I do run some generics, like any other person playing meta, unfortunately. I run generics, I run hand traps. Now, ironically enough, I'm running 2 E-Telly. There should actually be 3, but I think I have one sided out right now. Somewhere. But 2 is fine. You're probably going to get to use it once per duel, from my assumption anyways. Or at least I got to use it maybe once per duel. So 2 E-Telly. Could have sworn I had 3, but I guess I didn't. E-Telly to bring out the Ninian, and to kind of get the ball rolling, worst case scenario. So you got the 3 E-Telly. Take those out the way. We'll stick those bad boys up there. Then I run a plethora of hand traps, guys. I run Imperm at 2 because it's good for going first to set it or going second to disrupt. I run a Call By at 1 because it's at 1. It's still a good card. Try to prove me wrong on that. Good luck. We run Joyous. Easily the best hand trap in the format right now. Joyous is at 2 right now. I run her at 2. Just to keep them from searching. And then after they search, draw to stop them from searching anymore. And then 2 Nibiru because respect the rock. I still Nibiru people all the time. And then 2 D barriers that go in and out the side deck pretty consistently. It really depends on what I'm playing against. If I'm playing against a Link deck, I'm going to just side these out altogether. If I'm playing against Meta, which I played against Meta all yesterday, Punk Therion just call synchros because without their synchro stuff, they can't really do a whole lot. Sword Soul, call synchro. It'll make them in their turn. What else can you really use this on? You can use it on quite a few things. It just does not work against the Link decks, unfortunately enough. It's too old of a card. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go into the extra deck and then the side deck. The side deck, you are probably going to judge me, but it was very much just thrown together at the last minute. Like, this was just an off the top of my head idea, pretty much, at this point. So, extra deck was Rudy Rose, the Banished Graveyard, which I never really had to use this because all the decks I ran into, they used Graveyard. It was either all or none, and it was either, if it would be throughout Rudy Rose or Baron. So if Baron was in Grave, I need to make another 10, then yeah, I'd go for Rudy Rose. I mean, it was Psychic and Punisher, which I did not get to use, unfortunately, which I'm super sad, but that'll definitely change. Psychic and Punisher to try to close out a game, try to juice yourself up over a monster, a big boy. We'll just say Arrival, for example. It'll work for him. Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. I used her maybe once the whole locals on Friday. And I only used her to dump Water Temple to Grave if I don't have any pieces of the engine in my opening hand. Then we have one Jui. I did not have to use him at all because if I was thinking 6, I was going into my draw power. But Jui is good for removing stuff off the field, and he has a temporary protection on himself based off your graveyard. Now, one Fan because Fan is fantastic, and again, try to tell me I'm wrong. It banishes stuff from your graveyard, it banishes stuff from your opponent's graveyard, and it can banish stuff on the field too. Then we run the Crystal Wing Tenzin package, which I didn't really have to use this because I would just flip Baron on the field instead. This is the long-handed way. So it's a nice little backup strat. Just a nice little backup strat. Then I run here my 2 draw powers. We have a Charge Warrior, which obviously draw power, and a Coral Dragon, which is also draw power. And I would use those to draw on the extra cards to either discard to Grave to activate like Quinlong from Grave or Zanwil, whichever, if I was a little held up in my combo. And then I would also throw these out and then eventually go into my Sigma WoW Plus drawing cards. I ran 2 Shin-Shins, which I really only got I would really only put out Shin-Shin once per duel, if that. So Shin-Shin, definitely, if you run it 2, you can cut it down to 1. Then we ran 1 Vermilion Mech, because Vermilion Mech's a machine, by the way, guys. So again, Regulus can target that and pull it and put himself on the field. Plus target destroy, and has a reoccurrence. If he gets destroyed, you're going to get a tuner back. 1 Sigma is our big bad boy. To whip him out in the field unaffected by card effects in the extra monster zone. To basically say, hey, I'm here, now you have to Kaiju me or try to body me. And with the field zone on the field, that means they're going to double tap in. They're probably not going to get the chance to double tap him. We have 1 Constellar Dragon. You could take this out, but I would use this mainly to pull cards back from Grave, like say, we'll just say my Griffin Rider. I would use him, I'd make Baron, I'd make him, I would use him to pull Griffin Rider back to hand, and then I would whip Griffin Rider back out on my opponent's turn, because I would 9 times out of 10 still have a token on the field too. And then finally, a Baron to floor. This is my buddy Mike's Baron, he's let me borrow it for the time being, but this is a nice card. It is a very expensive card. But no one said that this deck is budget. This deck's not budget, unfortunately, unless you catch a deal on all the Therion stuff. But that is the extra deck. Let's go over the side deck real fast. And then, yeah, that'll be it, guys. Just give me 1 second. Just 1 second, guys, while you observe this fantastic-looking playmat. Not even gonna cap. Alright, so my extra deck consisted of 2 Cosmic Cyclones for back row removal. Let's see. We had 2 Triple Tactics for draw power, which I sided them in, but I didn't really see them very much, unfortunately enough. 1 Therion charge for draw power, which again I would sight it in, but I didn't get to see that much unfortunately, so it wasn't very relevant. 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance, just because if I play my whole turn and then I set this, chances are I'm going to be able to play under it because I've already used my right for the turn. I've already used my field spell. I've already popped off of all my plays. So that's just basically to lock my opponent up for a minimum of a turn. 1 Kaiju to get over big beaters who just are ridiculous. 2 Effect Veiler, just in case we wanted to trade out hand traps if we needed to, which didn't really come up very much. Dro is better. 1 Dro, in case we wanted to run 3 and wanted to see a little bit more. That came up a lot, and it was really good. 1 Ghost Ogre, because we could teleport it to the field. And it's Ghost Ogre. It's good for hitting the field spells. 1 Token Collector. I tried using it against Sword Soul. I didn't need it. I didn't see it, but I still, managed to win. 1 Dark Ruler, just to be fancy to break a board. And then 1 Aggro System, because I was already running 1 in the main deck, and that was a good side because I usually only see it once per duel. So that is all I got for you guys for the Virtual World Brave Therion. Do I think it'll work going forward? Yes. If you're wanting to run this build, just tweak it up a little bit because I'm changing builds just a little bit. Virtual World's still going to be involved, but I'm probably going to just pull the Brave and then go into something else. Virtual World is an underdogless format. It cripples a lot of decks right now because mainly Shinshin, and it's just Shinshin, guys. It's literally just Shinshin. The fact that Virtual World has a really good synchro engine, kind of like Punk. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Remember to like, remember to comment, remember to sub, and hit the bell as well. We are at 106 subscribers. The next goal, guys, is 50,000 views on the channel, which we are at roughly 11. We're getting there. And then we are trying to get 200 subs. 200 subs. We'll do a huge celebration. I will try to get the entire team together on camera all at the same time so you can meet all of us. Right now, you've met maybe 3 on camera, which would be me, Jackson, and Kareem, and then occasionally Trevor. But that is all I got for you guys. Stay tuned. I did all the local updates for this week. The local videos are all up. Make sure to look at the Instagram. Make sure to look at the Facebook. We have a Twitter too. We are everywhere now. We are balling. I don't know. Whatever the young kids say. We're balling, bussing, whatever you want to call it. Makes me sound old, guys. But like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and expect some live duel videos coming up in the next couple days. I got a bunch of videos to upload, so I'm going to be probably dropping 1 a day, maybe 2. Depends on how many I got to work with. But yeah, thanks for watching.